Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go! Wednesday show, February 5th, 2025. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, part of the over 79,000 subscribers on this platform, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell a friend about Woodward Sports. If you're watching on X, if you're watching live, good afternoon to you. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
You know, on a day after I host, I always get a type of way when you jump and start the show. You know, why do you assume you get to do the show?
Well,
why
hey,
can't
man,
I do
I'll
the
be
show?
more than happy to follow your lead, big guy.
No, you can have the show, man. I tell you, I get distracted during the show. I get the lead, and then I look down at the paper and look up like, oh yeah, so
always thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead.
Trying to, but at the same time, got to be cool. No, I'm doing good, man. Glad to be with you. You see, I'm rocking the Pistons. The Till, you see what it is. They play against the Cavs tonight, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do, especially after the Cavs had a tough game last night against the Celtics. So, Maz called a win, so will I. I'm feeling good, feeling great. Yeah, man, let's do this thing.
Speaking of the aforementioned Tom Mazaway, good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey, Rye. Hey, Bray. Hey,
What's
fellas.
going
Good
on,
morning.
man?
Welcome
Big
in, everybody.
Spivak, Ricky Burns in the house with us. What up, Ricky?
Good morning. I am
Come
very,
on,
very
Ricky.
excited today, despite the weather. You know why?
Ice storm tonight.
Yeah.
Forget all that. We're going to get through that. 50 days into the unofficial start of summer.
Look at that.
Okay, there you go.
It's opening day, he means.
See that?
Opening day in Detroit.
We're going to start calling Ricky the Light.
There we go.
Days.
Maz, how you doing today, big guy?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. You know what? It is what it is. I wish I was more excited about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know, I got Super Bowl squares up the yin-yang.
Yeah.
Hope I hit one. Hope I get a couple of decent numbers. Give me a 0-0, 3-3, 7-3. Give me something that I could sink my teeth into. I'm happy for the Pistons, the Red Wings. Man, I don't remember the last time they went on the road in the Western road trip in Western Canada and played everybody they could and come home undefeated. And my hat's off to them. I went to bed, it was 4-2. I already wrote on the sheet, Red Wings won 4-2.
I saw
So when
that
I
this
woke up
morning, and then I
today-
looked. I was like, what?
Yeah, I woke up today, I'm like, oh, okay, I have to change that to 5-4 to shootout. But that's okay. I knew they were going to win, and they did. And Patrick Kane, congrats to him. I mean, the Wings are looking good. It's fun to have a winning hockey team, a basketball team that's playing well, 2 good college basketball teams as well. And the Tigers are coming up right behind, February 17th, pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say, Matt, is I got to start appreciating Patrick Kane's greatness a little bit more. I watched last night. I watched the end of the game. I watched the match. And then, you know, the Kraken is a code name, by the way. I always did like that name. But, no, man, you're talking about a guy that's won Stanley Cups at a great level. He will be a Hall of Famer and still be doing it, you know, at this time in his age, in his era, man, was dope to see. So I'm tuning in a little bit more to the Red Wings and pay homage to a guy that – He's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point.
Guys, we'd love to have you be a part of the show here. Super Chat still applies. $5 for a comment, $20 a topic of your choice we will cover. If you want to be a guest on the show, like we have Lynn Henning talking Tigers today, top of hour number 2. If you want to be a guest around 3:30, if you're watching live, $50 for that. And I always throw it out there. You want 10, 15 minutes in studio in the Maz chair? $500. $500, 15 minutes in the Maz chair in studio with us on a day of your choosing.
Yeah, we're going to keep the engagements going, but I'm not cutting my hair. I'll let y'all know that now.
All right. So there you go. Want to throw that out there to you. And Maz, you talk about you wish you were more excited for the Super Bowl. Braylon, you're wearing your Pistons jacket today. Red Wings win last night. I just, on a whim this morning, look to see if we signed Alex Bregman again. We did not. So that's still out there. But if you look, the Red Wings are number 1 wild card spot right now, just a point behind that 3rd spot in the division. The Pistons are in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference right now in the playoffs. The Tigers, fresh off Gleyber Torres, fresh off Tim Kahnle, fresh off Jack Flaherty, and potentially Alex Bregman is right there, and Scott Boras may have played his cards correctly this offseason. We are in as good a spot as we have been in the last 10, 15 years, maybe ever, with how young and up and coming all of our teams are here in Detroit. The question that I posed this morning on my X page, quick check-in of Detroit sports fans. Which team are you most excited about? The team that you are just looking forward to the most, watching them continue to play in the playoffs, whatever the case may be. Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers. And I'll be honest with you, I am surprised by my results. 362 votes, 51% Red Wings.
Oh, wow.
Number 2 was the Tigers at 38.7%, and the Pistons came in at 10%, because I think most people view them a little bit further away from a championship. It is exciting to see what they're doing, but in terms of a championship and doing some damage in a postseason, I think that sounds about right. Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons. But it leads me to believe that, and thank you for doing that, Pete Spivak. It's on the screen right now. It leads me to believe that this city, we've missed the Red Wings here in Detroit. We have missed them for over a decade, and I think this would be one incredible run if they can get to the postseason and, heaven forbid, win a series, Bray.
Yeah, memories are made in championships and playoffs. You know, you look at what the Red Wings did and when it started. I became a Red Wings fan when they lost in '95 to the Devils. I still remember crying. I tell you guys that all the time.
I cried too.
100%. That's when
the other way.
The other way, exactly. Because it was the Devils. Because it was the. But you're talking '95. And then there's 96, and we know what happened in 97, and then you start in 98, and then you continue that run and that dominance till 2010. Essentially, a lot of Stanley Cups won in that, a lot of trophies, a lot of awards, and just a lot of memories. This became hockey town. You know, you didn't have a run like that for the Pistons. The Pistons had to go on to work Pistons. They had 7 years, and it was cool. But they got one chip out of that. You know, the Pistons in the 80s, you know, you had the Bad Boys Pistons, 86, and then it's over in 93. So you didn't have the continuation of a run. The Tigers won in 83 and we're good again in 84, but disappeared, and we haven't had a World Series since. The Red Wings had sustainable joy, sustainable glory, sustainable wins at the highest level, the best teams, the best players. Hell, our players shut down the old NHL, and that was Sergei Fedorov in terms of the money. So I think the Red Wings have endeared to have a lot more fans because of the success. You created generations of Red Wings fans, and like you said, they've been starving. So it definitely makes sense. When you go downtown, it looks like the Red Wings own downtown.
And
Tom,
I'm sorry.
Tom Mazaway, if you are voting in this poll, what are you throwing your hat behind?
Well, people are probably jumping on the Red Wings now because they're playing now. It's the Tigers. The Tigers won a playoff series last year. They knocked off the Astros 2 straight, and then they should have beat Cleveland. We all know that. Tarek Skubal didn't have his best stuff in the last game, in Game 5, and they should have played the Yankees in the ALCS, and who knows what would have happened. They overachieved last year. They did.
Yeah.
But now the pieces that they're adding, and I just see Scott Harris, I see his confidence, and I see A.J. Hinch, and I see that they're all on the same page. Chris Fetter, can't wait to get his hands on Alex Cobb, see what he could make out of him. Obviously gets Jack Flaherty back. He put Jack Flaherty on the map. Jack Flaherty is going to get paid. Won a World Series last year, and we got him back. Well, the Yankees did that, if you remember, when they traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs so the Cubs could win the World Series. And they got Gleyber Torres. And guess what? They signed Aroldis Chapman the following year and made their run. They haven't gotten to the finish line since 2009. But here it is. The Tigers do the same thing. Get rid of Flaherty, pick up 2 great players. Trey Sweeney was a terrific pickup. And they got that, and I can't remember the kid's name. Lynn Henning will tell us. And he's on the way up. Would have been a Dodger farmhand. Probably never would have seen the big club with L.A. He's going to see the big club here. Could catch, play outfield, play first base. The Tigers, man, it's a slam dunk. I cannot wait till they play. And guess what? They open up against the world champion Dodgers on the road. They got to watch the Dodgers get their rings. I'm telling you, man, this team is on the up.
Yeah, I didn't answer the question. I just gave my assumption on why it was the Red Wings. My answer is the Tigers as well. Like Matt said, I think they're the most fun playoffs. Every year we talk about what's the most fun playoffs. Me and Matt's always side with baseball. At least I think baseball and hockey, right, Matt?
Absolutely.
Playoff wise, yeah. So it's the Tigers, but I think also too, it's what Matt said. It's because if you look in baseball, you just assume the Yankees are going to be the best team. If you're a novice fan, the Yankees and then the Dodgers, you don't necessarily think the Tigers have a shot. In basketball, you know in your mind the Pistons don't have a shot to beat whoever's going to be there, whether it's the Celtics or whoever's coming out of the West. In hockey, you might have a shot.
Yeah,
you might have a
anyone can
chance.
win.
You can get far, and I think that's why as the Red Wings, it's because of how far it's perceived that you can get, Ricky.
Yeah, no, I agree with Maz with the Tigers, but going back to your question, it's strictly emotional because I never was a hockey fan growing up. My first game ever, my friend tells me about Red Wings. I didn't really know who Red Wings were. I just moved to a new city. It was the '98 championship game. First game I ever watched. It was crazy.
You lucky guy.
Felt like they just kept winning my entire life. I never even had to watch a game. It felt like anywhere I went, you knew the Red Wings were the best team. I think that was strictly what
And that's
vote
the
showed.
only team that we had that we thought that we knew that.
Yeah.
Any other team, it's like, oh, shoot, we got to wait all the way to the wire to see.
Yeah.
But with the Red Wings, you didn't have to pay attention. You're right.
Here's my answer to this question. I'm going to vote in my own poll. It's the Red Wings. But. It's the Red Wings, but if the Tigers sign Alex Bregman, it becomes Alex Bregman. Because I do believe that the Tigers, you're not going to shut everybody out. Maybe you're not going to keep everybody under 2 runs. If the Tigers don't keep everybody under 2 or 3 runs, they're not going to win very many games. Their offense is very bad. And I think that one bat that Alex Bregman can provide them is something that just makes that lineup so good up and down. That one player, what he does to impact 4 or 5 different spots in the field, 4 or 5 different spots in the order. What that one bat can do is the difference between winning an American League Central Division championship, winning an American League championship, and kind of winning 84, 85 games. I truly believe that. So here's where the excitement is. And again, we're all prisoners of the moment.
Yeah.
That last 2 weeks of hockey last year was about as exciting a time as I've had as a sports fan. And I'm including the Detroit Lions in there. This Lions regular season, you really felt like you were coasting a little bit. It was all... There was very little drama. I know there was against Minnesota in the final Sunday night of the regular season, but outside of that,
it was over in
very
like 2
little
minutes.
drama on a nightly. Okay, they're playing the Jags, they're going to win. They're playing the Bears, they're going to win. They're playing the...
What about the year before with the Lions?
Yeah, the year before that was really good. That was incredible. That game against Kansas City, and then obviously...
Winning
Chicago.
the North
Winning the playoffs.
Beating
Rams and Bucks.
Matthew Stafford in the postseason, beating the Bucks in the postseason. That was
Chicago.
incredible.
Yeah.
But again, as a snapshot, that 2-week period last April was as fun a time as I've had as a sports fan. Staying up late watching the Red Wings. Remember they scored that one goal with like a second left
Yep.
Oh,
with the
right.
extra attacker. I
Right.
don't remember the exact.
Montreal.
But I
Montreal.
jumped off my.
And they were horrible in the power play.
I jumped out of my chair. So, and because, like you said, because of the unpredictability of hockey, man, you get in and you do have a shot. You do have a shot. And, you know, the Tigers had a saying last year, don't let the Tigers get hot. It's kind of taken over with the Red Wings now. Don't let the Red Wings get hot. And I am excited for this hockey team. I'm excited for all the teams. Let me say that.
It's been a long time.
It is the Red Wings right now that I am most excited for, unless the Tigers seal the deal and sign Alex Bregman.
And I think the Red Wings do have some exciting players to watch too. I don't think you're just watching guys win games like with the exception of Tarek Skubal last year with the Tigers. You're like, who is this ragtag band of misfits? But with the Red Wings, you're looking at a player more excited. That's going to be the future defenseman of the Red Wings for a very long time. You're looking at Dylan Larkin, someone that's coming to his own now as a leader. Shout out to the University of Michigan. Lucas Raymond, another exciting player. 230-goal seasons last year and the year before. So you got players, and then you have veterans like Patrick Kane, who last night, as we talked about, broke the record for shootout goals in a career. Like, you have players that you believe. Like you said, Maz, remember we were watching, was it 3 years ago? St. Louis Blues, worst team in the league at the break. And then they turn around, they go on, they get hot, and they win the cup because they had a cause because of the young cancer patient. I can't think of her name. Yeah. But you can get hot in hockey. It's been proven in the last 4 years.
And obviously, this is a Lions town. We all know that, okay? We all know that. But there was this
football rules every
without
time.
question. It's the NFL, and then it's the NFL offseason.
No.
I mean, I thought about adding a fourth slot on that ballot or whatever to NFL offseason. What are you most excited for? I thought about that, but I didn't want to get cute.
I might have beat the Pistons.
It might have. I didn't want to get too cute with that because I did want to give these teams their due. And the Lions' ascension, the ascension of the Detroit Lions, has coincided with the other three teams being absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable. Tigers were bad prior to last year. Pistons, obviously, 14 wins, 15 wins, 17 wins. The Red Wings, among the worst in the NHL. It's been bad around here, and now it feels like it's just spreading out a little bit, and you could be excited about these other three teams.
Yeah, I saw the Pistons play in 2021, the year after. Well, obviously we know what it was the year after, but it was a brand of basketball that I swear, I have seen lifetime games that had better talent. I've seen, because a lot of these lifetime leagues, they feature like NBA cats that's like 1 or 2 years out. But I'm watching and I said, this cannot be the brand of basketball that the Detroit Pistons now have. Like, it was literally off. I think Jeremy Grant was the best player on our team, and he was scoring 30, but they were getting 20 points from everybody. Long story short, like, I was like, I'm done with the Pistons. Hey, here we are.
Yeah, and the Pistons have a shot tonight. They take on the league's best team, Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's a measuring stick game. I think it is. The Pistons are already 25 wins this year. That is incredible. I believe they've surpassed their over-under win total for the season already. Yeah. And it's very exciting what they're doing. And again, this is all young leadership too. I mean, just think about how the structure of these teams are, with Scott Harris in the Tigers organization, Trajan Langdon with the Pistons organization. Obviously, Steve Yzerman isn't, spring chicken, but he's not some old guy by any stretch of the imagination. And he's been there
adaptive
and done that. But, for the Pistons, this is an exciting time. And you're in a spot right now with J.B. Bickerstaff, with Cade Cunningham, where you do feel like you have that structure that the Lions – everybody's trying to model that, right? Yeah. Everybody's trying to model that. I heard Ben Johnson talking to Colin. Ben Johnson was on with Colin Cowherd earlier this afternoon, and one of the things he was talking about was you got to get the structure down. You got to have this cohesion with the front office, the general manager, the owner. Everybody's looking for that. And at the very least, it feels like all four organizations have that right now as we speak on February 5th, 2025.
Trade deadline's tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Pistons
we'll be on the air.
Pistons added another piece today and a couple draft picks. But I think with the Pistons, if you think about the last two coaches prior to J.B. Bickerstaff, they didn't want to be here. Dwayne Casey was brought here under the guise that he was going to be working with older veteran guys, that he was going to have guys that already knew the landscape as it relates to the NBA, high play, and then they were going to get to the playoff. He ended up having a rebuild. That is not what he came here for. So technically he didn't want to be here. He was good as he could be. And then who's the next guy? Monty Williams. Monty Williams comes in, does not want to be here. But you threw him cheese 3 separate times, and finally he took the bait. So now you have a guy, J.B. Bickerstaff, that wants to be here, that came here specifically for what the Pistons had. A bunch of young guys trying to figure it out, but you had a guy that was a potential superstar player. Well, that guy's a superstar player because J.B. came in and said, look, I want to be here. Now you get guys to buy in. Look at Beef Stew, Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, what they saw for 4 or 5 years. They saw two guys trying to lead them that didn't necessarily even want to be here. As tough as a player. Now you got a guy. Go ahead. Now you got a guy.
I was just going to say, Bray, you talk about look at what they saw, and look at what the Red Wings players saw too, playing in front of empty buildings.
Yeah.
What about the Tigers? I don't think the Tigers players prior to the postseason last year, outside of one game on opening day, there wasn't one player on the Tigers roster last year that ever played a game to a capacity crowd, a non-opening day capacity crowd at Comerica Park in their history.
All those Tigers
Not
players.
one player on that roster.
Think about just those Tigers players, like hearing about this great park. Oh, Comerica Park is this dope park. Oh, Comerica Park sees 36,000. Oh, man, you should hear this crack. And they didn't see that. They're like, man, they're a bunch of liars. Nah, it gets like that. The team just isn't like that to get that crowd.
So again, whether it's the Tigers, whether it's Cade Cunningham and the Pistons, that building's pretty full.
Motivation.
The Red Wings every night.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
It is fun again.
You got to love it, man. That's what the fans want, and they've been begging for it for years. Let's face it. We have been the dregs of sports for a long, long time here. Now we got all 4 teams humming and on the way up. All 4 teams are on the way up and are close to really winning it all.
I do believe that. If you had to say now, the Tigers would be the team closest to winning it all, wouldn't you?
Lions.
Well, I'm taking the Lions out of it for a minute. I'm just those 3, between the 3 teams.
I would think so. But, they'd have to face the Dodgers at the end, and that's playing an all-star team.
They count. You know what I mean? They count.
I'd say Red Wings.
Yeah?
I'd say Red Wings. Because I'm just not convinced the Tigers can do anything to beat the guys that's going to be here at the end. It's a juggernaut. And I know that sounds like I don't have any faith. I don't. I don't.
They can win the AL, though.
When you could put a roster together like the Dodgers have, where their 5th pitcher is probably the best on 19 teams, I'm not here for it.
It really isn't a fair looking at it. It'll be great if it's like the whole season for baseball. Just beat the Dodgers.
Let me ask you.
That's what it comes down to. It sucks, but that's what it comes down to.
Right.
We're excited about the offseason moves so far, especially if we get Bregman for the Tigers, correct?
Of course.
With that being said, do those moves make them better than the Yankees?
Yeah. It makes them on par or better.
Because of Soto left?
Yankees lost Soto, but you know what? They picked up 3 players in his stead. I'll tell you what, the best thing that could have happened to the Yankees, and you'll think I'm crazy, is that they should have probably let Judge go. He's 30. He was like 31 years old when they signed him to that contract.
Yeah,
I love Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
But if San Francisco wanted to offer him the world, the Yankees could have filled their team out a little better.
Especially if he was going to hit like that in the playoffs.
Yeah, he went away in the playoffs.
What about the Orioles?
Yeah.
The Orioles?
Orioles are playing with young kids.
Yeah, true.
And they had a chance to go out and get a Tarek Skubal, and they didn't.
They blew
so they're holding their cards, and it looks like maybe the Tigers holding their cards might pay off. Because if they can win a cup playoffs, they'll get enough money to be able to pay Skubal, especially with what Illich is going through. And we'll talk about that at the top of the hour with Lynn Henning.
Burn, $5 super chat. And again, please feel free. $5 for a comment, $20. The topic of your choice, $50 if you want to be a guest on the show. Burn, $5. The Pistons even lured me to my first game in LCA tonight. First Pistons game since I saw the Bad Boys.
Whoa.
And then the Pistons in high school. Wow, the AI Pistons, the Allen Iverson Pistons.
Yeah, you need some get back.
Burn, good for you, man.
Hey, Burn, did you get the Fiverson plan back then?
Ooh, the Fiverson.
When they got him, they couldn't wait to roll out the Fiverson plan.
Wow, good for you, Burn. That is awesome. $2 for Burn. Not the Bad Boys going to work. Not that old. Not the Bad Boys. The going to work Pistons. He's not that old. But, that's awesome. Think about that for a minute. First Pistons game in essentially 15 years. Right?
Yeah.
20 years, maybe?
Yeah, 20.
That's what this group gives you. That's what people want. We are starving for something here. Give us some sort of reason to spend our money because it's not easy to go to a game these days. It's just not. You're gonna $50 to park a car. You're going to go in the stadium. It's a minimum $100 a person night. Minimum $100 a person night.
If you're going to eat or drink something.
Yes.
For sure.
That's not even that's including the ticket too, I guess.
Yeah.
You can
get a cheaper ticket on the secondary market. They're out there. You could go tonight probably and find a $40 ticket in a lower bowl. But by the time they're done with you with all the extras, you're at $65. That's the bad part.
I cracked the joke, Ryan. You didn't hear me.
I didn't hear. What'd you say?
You said you heard. He said that you're trying to find a way to spend your money. I was like strippers.
Strippers.
It's a great way, man.
On that note, we'll take a break.
I was going to ask one question real quick, guys, if you don't mind. I was going to ask
please.
one real. If the ticket prices, like you say, Ryan, $100 person game, Braylon, Tom, Ricky, if these ticket prices are, what if the NBA does shave the 2 minutes off per quarter? The ticket prices have to be affected by that, wouldn't they?
They better go down.
Absolutely not.
They better go down in price.
I don't think they will. I don't think they would. I don't think they would go down.
I'm just curious what.
Boycott.
Well, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Once you charge somebody for something, you're not going to say, "Oh, out of the goodness of our hearts, we want to take less of that."
Right.
You know, I mean,
If the NFL went from 60 minutes to 50, I can't get some cheese back. Like I still have to give you $5.50 for this ticket.
It would probably
Right.
be discount on the food. They discount the food a little bit.
is your mic on? Talk into the. Maybe you got to talk
Your
more
mic
into the
closer.
mic. Yeah,
They probably get
There
a
you
discount
go.
on the
There you
food.
yeah. There you go. Get up into that mic, Ricky. Get up into
Get
that
that
mic,
mic,
Ricky.
It's the Quiet Storm with Ricky Burns.
Pillow talk
Get up
sports.
into that mic, Ricky. Hey guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I do want to talk a little Lions, and I've got a question for you all about Brad Holmes. It has been in Brad we trust since almost day one. If they don't sign Myles Garrett, will some of that body armor that he wears among the Detroit sports fan start to be chiseled away a little bit? We'll ask you that question. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. With over 50 metropolitan Detroit locations, it's the gym for you. Simply put, it's a super squeaky clean gym. And also, there's no judgment. You work out at the beat of your own drum. March to the tune in your head. Get down how you want to. We're not judging you. And also, his fitness fits into your budget. So we won't crack you over the head. We will allow you to come in, use the gym, use the facilities, get in shape, feel good about yourself. For not that much. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
And the big game requires a big party. Woodward Sports live watch parties at Hayes Social. Come watch the game with the crew on 3 17-foot TV screens, baby. Book your table today before they're gone. 586-247-2223 is the number. Great food, drink specials, and the best big game party around. Hayes Social at 21 Mile and Hayes in Shelby Township. Brought to you by 1800 Tequila, Sabbath Coffee Roasters, Cherokee Crispy Chicken and Pizza, and New Holland Brewing Company. We'll be right back.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Hey guys, dreaming of a new home but feeling in a financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's $5,000 that you don't have to worry about. Call Mark White and his team today, 248-290-8242. You can try him online as well, markwhitesells.com. Again, that number, 248-290-8242, to make your dreams come true.
Hey, gang, let me tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. At Lady Jane's, we take the chore out of getting a haircut. Our talented stylists deliver an industry-leading haircut, relaxing scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, I hope they're not setting us up for failure with the Bryce Underwood situation.
No.
Like, first of all, I saw him play, so I know he's legit. But I'm just saying, they better put the weapons out there for this kid. You see, he got the first ever 100 rating.
They got him.
For ESPN college football player, so.
They just signed another 5-star offensive lineman.
Yeah, you can't. But you can't,
what a class.
You can't throw to an offensive lineman.
They get somebody.
I'm just saying, hey, look.
Tell that to Ben Johnson.
Everybody can't be Braylon
Tell that
Edwards
to Ben
good.
Johnson.
Yeah, he got -3.
he still did it.
He got -3. Nah, look, man, I love my school. I know they on point, but these are questions worth asking.
Speaking of questions worth asking,
donator.
I wanted to ask you guys this question. By the way, Lynn Henning going to join us talking Tigers in about 30 minutes from now. Just saw that the Cubs have intensified their offer for Alex Bregman, so it looks like a two-team race right now. It appears the Astros may be on the outside looking in. Cubs and Tigers look to be the likely destinations for Alex Bregman. We'll get Lynn Henning's thoughts on that longtime Detroit News columnist.
Let's go.
Wanted to ask you guys this. I think we are all in agreement here that the Detroit Lions, and again, show of hands. I'm not out of bounds to say we all believe the Detroit Lions should F them picks and go all in on Myles Garrett. Correct? Show of hands.
100%.
Okay, we're all in agreement.
Yes.
Everybody raising their hands in studio. If the Lions don't get Myles Garrett, for argument's sake, how would you feel about Brad Holmes and his aggressiveness or lack thereof in really going after this Super Bowl window, which we believe the Detroit Lions are in? And, I know you guys had the Albert Breer clip yesterday from the Dan Patrick Show where he says, Detroit has lost so much momentum.
Yeah.
They have lost to Washington, not won a playoff game. They have lost both their coordinators. They have lost a number of coaches this offseason.
Some players will follow.
The shine has really come off the Detroit Lions team amongst NFL circles. And even Dave Burkett said it a couple of weeks ago when he was on here. The shine has come off a little bit here in Detroit amongst Lions fans. What would it take to get that shine back on and say the sheriff is still here? That would be getting Myles Garrett. Question, if they don't get Garrett, how would you feel about Brad Holmes at that point? $5 for a comment. I want to read you first. You jumped the line. Braylon?
Maz, you start. I'll let you.
I think you know how I feel. I mean, I've said it yesterday. I've said it in the past. You drafted a great team. They put together a fantastic team in 4 years. The coaches have been terrific. There's going to be some different coaches. The players are still here. Most of them will still be here. Most of them are young. This is an up-and-coming team. Everyone trying to hit their prime. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is going to be the best running back in the game going forward. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be 1,500 yards a year. J-Mo is going to be even better than he was last year. The defense is going to get all the players back. That said, can you imagine if Myles Garrett was on this team. I'm not talking about a 35-year-old guy. I'm talking about a guy in his prime that's played on a perennial loser. Can you imagine the shot he would get by coming here? Now, here's the downside. You got to pay him. You got to pay Hutch. And you got to pay another guy or two. Someone will probably be left out. And it goes back to the 2015 season. You had your choice between Megatron, Stafford, and Sue. They signed 2 guys. They let Sue walk. They were never the same after that. They lost their soul when they let Sue go, the defensive soul. You've got to go out and get this guy. How many rookies do you want on your team? How many more young guys can you draft that are going to make you better now to win the Super Bowl? The time is now. All right? You're one of 4 teams to never make it to the big game. And 2 of them were expansion teams. 3 if you count the new Cleveland Browns. So in reality, you are the only team in the history of the NFL since the Super Bowl era that has not made the Super Bowl. We're tired. We're paying top dollar for tickets. I'm talking about the people that, I don't know, maybe don't pay their house payment last year to go to that Lions playoff game.
And you're not telling a lie. There are some people that made that decision.
Listen, you owe us.
No.
You owe us. Go out and get that guy. Cleveland is rebuilding. They gave up 3 number 1s for Watson, and it blew up in their face. Tell me they won't take 2 number 1s back, make it worth it. And if they need a player, maybe you have to include a player. And
the Athletics mock proposal, 2 1s and Hendon Hooker.
That's fine.
Bye.
I'll do that with my eyes closed.
Bye.
I'll do that with my eyes closed. I think it'll cost more than Hooker.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to listen to see who they want.
Well, they want somebody, Braylon, with no money. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They want somebody that's not going to cost you anything. So it's not going to be somebody that's up against a contract.
Yeah, this is my thoughts on it. Look, I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Lions fans, you got to stop looking at this like you're going to bring in somebody that's going to bust up the money, that's going to bust up the culture in the locker room, and he's going to be this me guy that's going to cost all this, and you got burned in the past before, and so don't be nervous, don't be scared. There's a reason why the Lions are 5th in the league in terms of cap management space. It's $46 million. Brad Holmes has been saving money for a moment. $46 million they got under the cap. 2 first-round picks. Ladies and gentlemen, you're getting 28 this year, and you expect to win the Super Bowl again next year, I assume, right? Well, let's pick 32 or 31. Congratulations, you can have 28. You can have 28 through 32 next year. Damn sure it better not be 28 next year. You can have those picks. It's going to cost you a player next year, and it may cost you a player the year after that. Okay, there's a lot of players. You can have Brian Branch.
You still have second, third, fourth, fifth round picks.
We had this conversation yesterday. Like, there's not a lot of players that's off limits, but you won't have to give up as much as you think. And then you have to pay him. Don't you think if you bring a guy here, you put him in this culture, a guy that has money, has gotten paid, don't you think a guy is going to see what it is and renegotiate that deal because of the center that we have here? Oh, also, too, there's a reason why Myles Garrett didn't mention anything about this before the Pro Bowl. Who did he talk to at the Pro Bowl? Who did he talk to at the Pro Bowl? He'd be like, yeah, I think I'm going to go in now. I'm hoping it was the Lions players at some point. But I think you won't have to give up much as you want. If it's 2 first-rounders, look where your 2 first-round picks will be this year and next year. This talking about a guy that's the fastest to 100 sacks. You're talking about a guy that's 14 sacks or more 4 years in a row, first time it's ever been done in NFL history. And there's a lot left in that tank. Now, what happens if they don't go out and get him? The only 2 problems I have with Brad Holmes is it doesn't seem like he can pull that trigger for a move, and this would just further that thought, and the other one is drafting or picking up hurt players. See, only 2 issues that I have with him. So if this goes through, this will further that issue. You better get it right, because now all the stuff that happened in the beginning, well, you start to put it up against the things that are happening that counteract that.
I'd be very disappointed in Brad if he didn't do this. Yeah.
At the core of the question, would you be disappointed? Absolutely. I would absolutely be disappointed in Brad Holmes and really the sense or lack thereof of urgency. This is a very urgent matter, I feel like. players like this pop up on the market, once every 3 or 4 years, really. I mean, when you think of defensive players in their prime that come up, I mean, was Khalil Mack the last defensive stud in his prime to come available? I'm not talking about J.J. Watt at the end of his career. Yeah. I mean, it may even be less than that every 3 or 4 years.
No, it was Khalil. You're right.
Yeah, it was Khalil.
I mean, the last defensive player of the year type guy.
This guy's twice the guy Khalil Mack.
And that's what I'm saying. And he's in his prime of his career.
Yeah.
And you are where you are. I just think you have to do what you've got to do to get him, to get that player. And again, part of this, and Maz, you weren't here on Monday when I was talking about this, but I think of you and Yankees, Red Sox. Yeah. You cannot allow him to go to Philadelphia, Washington, heaven forbid, Chicago, Minnesota or Green Bay.
Yeah. Ugh.
Because that is an absolutely likely destination. That is a likely destination that he comes to the NFC, I believe. And if he winds up in Minnesota, Green Bay, or Chicago, you've got some big, big trouble. And you're going to have to answer to him twice a year. And I don't think, last I checked, Jared Goff isn't Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, or the kid from Washington. What's his name? Jaden Daniels. He cannot escape. You've got Jared Goff back there.
Yeah.
You can't have number 95 coming at him twice a year in your division. So all of these things coming into play here, I'd be very disappointed in Brad Holmes if he doesn't get it.
The Browns would be dumb to not let him be traded, to not trade him and get back what you gave away.
And it's not in their conference. It's not in their
and they would be dumb to trade him not to the NFC.
Right.
He's coming to the NFC.
Right.
It's just a matter of, is he coming to your division or is he coming to your conference?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, what Brad Holmes has set in motion these first 4 years, man, has been nothing short of, it's been special. We appreciate it. And you look at where the Lions are. You look at where that team is. You look at where their structure is. They've drafted well. They've brought in the right players, the exception of a couple guys that were injured. With that being said, it's time to make that move. What do you have cap space for if not for this moment? What have you not created? Like, you legitimately are in a situation where it will not cost you more than 2 picks that are 28 plus 30, and then a player or two that you can find on this roster to deal with. Like, this is a situation where to win a Super Bowl, you got to have a defense. You got to have a defense that can hold the offense down if the offense runs into a rut, if you will. You put Myles Garrett opposite Aiden Hudson, and you got Aleem and DJ Reader in the middle. That's a problem. That's a I want to win now type situation. I'm going for it now. We'll figure out the rest later. And, oh, by the way, we have enough to where we can figure it out.
What if it costs you more than 2 number ones?
Like what, a fourth?
3 number ones.
It's not going to cost 3 number ones.
Maybe they want all those picks back from Watson.
It's not going to cost 3 number ones. But it will cost you about 4 draft picks. It will cost you about 4 draft picks. Can you trade your first and fourth this year, maybe a first and third the following year? I mean, I don't know.
I would.
Do you trade your first and third this year? You're getting a third. You weren't supposed to have a third aneway this year.
Right.
You get a compensatory third.
Unless you got a guy in mind that you think drops there. Just deal with this year and then deal with the years following. Right. Just give them away.
I mean, how many roster spots do the Detroit Lions even have available next year?
I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to go to the Super Bowl.
That part. Going to the Super Bowl.
What a laughing stock. No one. I'm telling you, if you went to all 32 NFL cities, 31 I mean, and asked them, did you know the Detroit Lions have not been to the Super Bowl? They're like, well, I know they haven't won a Super Bowl. No, they haven't been to a Super Bowl. I bet you they wouldn't even realize that. 90% of them wouldn't realize, how can a team not get to a Super Bowl? We do it time in and time again.
Just your emotional state of mind as well. Can you imagine, just from your pure emotional state, if he comes to the division? And I'll tell you, I think a team, and I've discounted this team before, and I still, to my detriment, I discount them too much.
Minnesota?
Chicago.
Oh.
That's another place.
I would not doubt that Chicago is a place because they actually do have the ammunition to get Myles Garrett. They have 3 picks in the top 60, something like that.
That's where he's going.
You know, I mean, honestly,
He just predicted it.
that is a team, and it was Khalil Mack. He went from Chicago to
He went from Oakland to Chicago.
He went from Oakland to Chicago.
Oakland,
That's right. He went from Oakland to Chicago.
And then
year
to the
5.
Chargers.
So we have seen that organization understand the importance of a defensive player and what that defensive player could do for an organization and everybody around that organization. Chicago, to me, is a team you look out for in this Myles Garrett situation. And that is a team that is on the rise, my friends. And I maybe I need to speak to myself there.
Yeah.
I had him in the playoffs.
I know you did. And there is a team every single year that goes from last one year to make the playoffs the next. It is going to be the Chicago Bears next year. That is going to be the last place team that makes it to a postseason, the playoffs next year.
They already got Ben Johnson. If they get Myles Garrett, like this is a different division. This is a different rivalry. This is a different rivalry. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, like this is what they want. Like this is who he chose. Ben Johnson chose Caleb Williams out of all the quarterbacks that were available. Now you give him Myles Garrett with top of Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, and with that Edmonds, like.
Who's in the Super Bowl this year? What team in the NFC?
Eagles.
The Eagles,
Look
right?
at that D-line.
Yeah.
What
Again.
do we talk about with the Philadelphia Eagles every year?
Defense, D-line. D-line specifically.
Who, yeah, I mean, you already answered the question, but what's the unit you always talk about with Philadelphia?
D-line.
And what did Philadelphia do to Jaden Daniels? Freaking suffocated him. Just absolutely suffocated him. And I got news for you, too. The Washington Commanders are the future of the NFC. They're as bad as they ever will be with Jaden Daniels at their quarterback right now. This is the worst roster. This is the worst roster he will ever play with in Washington.
That's fair to say.
So they're only getting better.
Yeah. They got great ownership now. They're going to get a new stadium. They're on the rise.
You have to suffocate players like that. And would there be a better way to suffocate him than Garrett, McNeil, Hutchinson?
There's no one in the draft that can do what this guy can do.
Right.
There's no one in football that can do what this guy can do.
There's a similar situation that occurred with a player. I don't know, not on the level of Myles Garrett, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's in my draft class. He went in 2 years ago, and that's DeMarcus Ware. Denver Broncos try to figure out a way to get over that hump on the defensive side of the ball. They already had the sheriff. They already had the number 1 offense in the league, 55 touchdowns, and all that cute stuff that they did just to get their butts whooped in the Super Bowl by the Legion of Boom. They went out and they got DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware, 140 career sacks, literally went to Denver. Now he helps out Von Miller. Look at Von Miller's career. Once DeMarcus Ware got to that other side. It's the same similar type. You're talking about a guy in DeMarcus Ware that had 80 sacks when he went to Dallas. So when he went to the Broncos. They added him. Defense turned up. It was a whole nother team. Look what they did to Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. Defensive line suffocated him. And last time I checked, I think DeMarcus had a sack and a half in that Super Bowl.
And again, this whole thing too, guys, is to me, and this is where I think people in Detroit, what's a nice way to say it, rub me the wrong way a little bit, because this is about winning Super Bowls. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, "Oh, we won 15 games."
No.
And where'd that get you?
That is like the most defeatist attitude I have ever heard from good sports fans, from great sports fans. "Oh, it was a good season, 15 wins."
That sounds like Michigan State.
"Oh, what a season it was." Yeah, at least they're not the worst in the league anymore.
They also
come
went
on.
undefeated in their division.
Right. Come
Who
on,
cares?
people. It doesn't matter. They lost.
I'm beating on the road. Who cares?
They're sitting home just like the Carolina Panthers
Yeah.
are. They're no
They
better.
played one more game than the Bears.
They played one
One
more.
more.
They played one more game than the New York Giants this year. You know, I mean, if you think about it, who cares? And it goes to show you too how quickly it can close for people. You think San Francisco feels like they missed an opportunity? You think the Cincinnati Bengals feel like they missed an opportunity? You think the Atlanta Falcons feel like they missed out on an opportunity 8 years ago, by the way, since the 28-3.
Right.
Today,
We got that, yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking about teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, thought they were going to get back the next year, thought it was, going to happen for them. The natural progression was to win. You methodically go about your business, and then you know what happens?
The NFL.
It all ends. It all ends.
Momentum disappears if you don't add
Squish,
to it. If you
just like
don't
grape.
add to momentum, it disappears. Like it disappears if you don't add, if you don't change, if you don't evolve your way of thinking, if you don't evolve the way in which you got things done. Like the Lions have had a lot of success in certain areas over the last 3-4 years. Now it's time to take that next jump. Now it's time to take that next leap. I think this is the moment that you've been preparing for. This is the moment we've been waiting for, and it's here. If they don't make it, they can still potentially win the Super Bowl. That's not what we're saying on this show, that this is all the be-all move, but this eases the fan base. This eases me as a 4-year Lion fan. This lets me know, they don't want to see that defensive line from the Detroit Lions. And, oh, by the way, they had the number 1 offense in the league last year. See, things like that matter. Because you're going to have some games where the offense struggles next year because Ben Johnson is gone, because they have Lions tape on film. You ain't putting up 55 twice in the season this year. You're going to need a defense. And a guy like Myles Garrett, I don't want to hear about this Darius Smith and, he didn't have Hutch and they're going to be really good together next year. I know for a fact Myles Garrett and 97 will be good next year. That'd be great.
Listen, man, I never felt better as a Lions fan than when I saw them beating the living daylights out of the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man, what a day.
And then it all went away in that when Aiden Hutchinson snapped his leg in 3 parts. Literally, it all went away. And then they beat up on the ragtag Jags and the Titans, put up 50 against each of them. Sure, they had a couple other big games as well. But the season, to me, honestly, when you look back at it, it ended that day. The season ended that day in Dallas when our best player on defense, a guy that was leading the league in sacks and still led the league in sacks a month after he was out, he was on his way to the top. He was bringing this team with him.
Michigan boy.
When he broke, they really broke. They held it together, and they put it all together so they could get that 1 week off. Guys, we got to win this game. That 49ers game on Monday Night Football, that meaningless game, we still wanted to win it, and they still went out and won that game. They didn't have to. They really could have rested everybody that day, but they went out and won it, and then they put it all together against Minnesota. And thanks to Sam Darnold playing so bad, they didn't have a game. They had an easy game after those 2 misses in the first quarter. But when Hutch went down, the rest fell. 22 players on IR in that season. And then Amik Robertson, that was the end of it. When he went down against Washington, it was over. This was an injury season, but it was led by our best player, Aiden Hutchinson. Get that guy some help. Go get Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I agree with Maz at the last part. The stuff about the season broke, I disagree. They won 12 in a row. They went 15-2, and then
meaningless.
Yeah, but it didn't break when he got hurt. It did not. It broke when everybody else kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
Alex Anzalone got hurt the next week, and then no, it wasn't just Hutch. Just getting back to it, Dallas Cowboys won 2 Super Bowls. What years, Maz? 93 and 94.
For who?
The first 2 for Jimmy Johnson.
92, 93, and 95.
Yep, they drafted well. They got all those picks from the Minnesota Vikings. They drafted Emmitt Smith. They draft Troy. They win 2. Then they lose. And instead of saying, you know what, let's just rest on the players that we drafted because we drafted well. In fact, we've won Super Bowls. This has to be the winning formula, right? We've already won 2 Super Bowls. No, they went out and they got Deion Sanders. The best DB in the league at the time, arguably the best DB. They went out and paid Deion. They had all those other guys. They had already won 2. Forget winning 2 playoff games. They had won 2 Super Bowls. But Jerry saw Deion on the block. That's what I need to get it done. And what happened that year?
Won it.
Did you hear what St. Brown said? The St. Brown?
I did.
I didn't take it because there was a lot of curses in it.
Yeah.
But basically, Amon-Ra St. Brown said, wow, if we get Myles Garrett, you don't even need a secondary. That's what he said.
That's exactly what I was saying. If you have him, it didn't matter who was hurting the secondary against the Commanders. if you have Myles Garrett. Hell,
Exactly.
who knows what the Eagles would have been able to do particularly.
I'm telling you.
Myles Garrett does that much.
So what that tells you is that might be one of the players you lose. It might be Kirby Joseph. You might not be able to re-sign him if you sign a guy like him.
But you got Brian Branch. You can go find another safety.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
Ifatu Melifonwu.
Hey, next.
You know, I mean, and again, you talk about that momentum, Braylon. I mean,
Maybe Kirby goes in that trade.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him.
No,
Appreciate what you did.
I don't think Cleveland is taking back any player that is due money.
Yeah, because they
want to Lions this thing. They want to Detroit Lions, St. Louis Rams this thing, where Cleveland gets all those picks. And again, Cleveland's general manager says we're not trading him. We don't want to trade him. I mean, that's all posturing, right? That's all negotiating because he wants somebody to blow him away with a deal. And maybe somebody does. And I just hope that it's Brad Holmes. I hope that it's Brad Holmes because I do believe momentum in sports works both ways. And when things are going good, I think that's great. Things usually roll good like that. When things go bad, boy, things snowball. And I'm telling you, just even hearing Amon-Ra St. Brown today on the St. Brown Brothers podcast, even the players, right? I mean, how they're going to react if they get Myles Garrett is going to be pretty special.
Yeah, 100%. They know what they're getting. They know what it is. And it's funny Amon-Ra saying that because last time I checked, he made the Pro Bowl. He was down there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, guys, we'll take a break. When we come back, expected to be joined by Lynn Henning, longtime Detroit News sports columnist. We'll talk to him about those Tigers, Alex Bregman, and all the rest. But first, a message from Les Stanford, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. You see a QR code on your screen right now looking for a new car. How about Les Stanford, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC? How about a new 2025 Hummer EV SUV, 24 months, $699 a month, $1,999 down. 2025 GMC Sierra, 1500 Crew Cab, 24 months, $359 per month. Sign and drive, no down payment required. GM discount required for both. You want to check out their inventory? LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com, or that QR code right there.
Hey, don't forget about Dr. Pierce. He joins us every Tuesday on Big D Energy. He joins us here on Thursdays. That's tomorrow. He's from Michigan Sports and Spine. Trusted guy at DMAC and Braylon Trust. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com, 248-426-9944.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won.
This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at LesStanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Head to woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com. Detroit has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
Listen, I know y'all tired of wearing that same old tired Detroit sports merch. Well, you know we got you here at Woodward Sports, and I know you're still hurting about the Lions, but we got great Lions gear on woodwardsports.com, and click that shop tab. We also getting the new Pistons gear in, Tigers, Red Wings, anything you can imagine. Woodward Sports got it for you, man. Go to woodwardsports.com, click that shop tab, and unlock a world of possibilities for your sports merch.
Hey guys, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway, Pete Spivak, KG in the house.
Yeah.
Hey. We got Ricky Burns here too. Ricky's gonna
What's up, KG?
take over
What up?
for KG in the coming days. If you guys want to get involved with Lynn Henning, you got a question? $5. We'll ask you a question. We'll ask your question for Lynn Henning.
About the Tigers.
Tigers related question to Lynn Henning. $5 in the chat will get you in there. And again, I am very excited about this baseball team. I am very excited for the prospect of Alex Bregman joining this team and what he would do. I do not like what I'm seeing today, and maybe this is just the sports fan in me.
About the Cubs?
About the Cubs entering this deal.
You know who put that out, right? Scott Boras put that out.
Maybe so.
Let's face it. Scott Boras has been waiting this long. He plays the wait game, as you know. You know damn well when you're trying to pay for a Scott Boras client. And I'll tell you this, Lynn Henning, I know, doesn't think Alex Bregman is the answer for the Tigers because he thinks it would cost the Tigers too long of a contract length. And we'll talk to him about it. But at this rate, at this time, they're such a young team that I don't think an extra year to him is going to hamper this team.
No.
If we can get 3 great years out of him, out of this contract, I'd be happy. There's not a guy on this team that you know, besides Spencer Torkelson, that could hit 30 home runs. And Tork did it in his rookie year, and he hasn't done it since. And I still believe in that guy. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. I'm anxious to see what Lynn tells me what they're going to do with him. But I'd hold on to him. I would just protect him. You drop him down in the lineup, and you find a spot for him. But the corner spots are supposed to be 30 to 40 home run guys.
Mm-hmm.
They are. And they haven't had that. And I don't even remember the last time they had a corner guy that could hit that many. So it's time, man. It's time for Chris Ilitch. It's time for Scott Harris to go out and get these players. And I know it sounds like we're just a bunch of hogs. We tell Brad Holmes, go out and get Myles Garrett. It's not our money. But that's what sports is, right?
Yep.
That's why we're all fans. We all have our opinions. None of us are wrong. None of us are right either. But I do believe I've watched baseball long enough to know if you really want to compete, you better get some guys that can hit the ball out of the park. You can't always win with singles.
And that is the, I mentioned this before. I think the worst thing, potentially, the worst thing that ever happened to the Tigers last year was doing what they did and messing around and making the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah. They put the white flag up.
It sounds ridiculous to say that.
Yes.
I understand it sounds ridiculous to say that. But when you can win with a payroll essentially of $25 million, that was their playoff payroll last year, maybe $25 million. That gives you a false sense of security, does it not?
Of course.
That you could do it any which way. And I would just, as a fact, the Oakland A's never won a World Series playing Moneyball. The Tampa Bay Rays have never won a World Series playing Moneyball. The Detroit Tigers have never won a World Series playing Moneyball. So I would just caution everybody. It's nice. You can get to a certain point.
Yeah, there's a cap on it.
There is a cap on it.
Yeah.
And that's all's I'm saying.
No, and I totally agree. To me, and you've heard me talk about this before, you're in a unique position with this team because we don't know whether Tarek Skubal is going to be here in the long term. So if you're looking at that, you have to kind of look at this like, okay, they have a 2-year window to really try and make some noise here before your young guys that, you know, Scott Harris has put a lot of stock into come up, and then they have a go at it at the MLB level. So I think you would serve this team good to protect some of your young players coming up by just adding a little bit more talent to this thing. And Alex Bregman, you can shore up your third base, you know, at the plate and infield defense. You got Gleyber Torres already, so that'll take a lot of pressure off of first base, seeing that you'll probably push Colt Keith to first and then have Torque, you know, coming off the bench. This team is set up to win, but just the model that they did it last year is not sustainable. So I would like them to put more talent around your young guys and then see what you have.
KG, to your point, Buster Olney, ESPN baseball reporter, today, this is his post about the Tigers' serious pursuit of Alex Bregman. Detroit is in a window to win right now. Tarek Skubal, who is in the conversation for the best pitcher on the planet, is eligible for free agency after the 2026 season. Jack Flaherty under contract for at least 1 year. The Detroit Tigers are in a World Series championship window right now.
12 months.
A 12-month, potentially 24-month championship window.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, are the Detroit Tigers re-signing Tarek Skubal for $400 million?
Maybe not.
Probably
not. Because he'll have to be the highest paid player in baseball.
Probably not.
Yeah.
The highest paid pitcher in baseball.
I will lean on that side. That's fair to say.
I would say probably not.
Based off the track record and how they spent and just the things going on, I would say that's fair.
For as much as we talk about the Detroit Lions not winning a championship and not winning a Super Bowl, guys, it's been 41 years since the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
41 years.
Yeah.
Man.
At least you have seen them compete in some World Series since then. But
I understand that.
To your point.
It's you're like the Buffalo Bills at that point,
Yeah,
though.
pretty
You know
much,
what I mean?
pretty
You
much,
go to the
yeah.
World Series every year and get your tail kicked in.
Yeah.
But that's what happened when you have a city that hasn't seen championships, with the exception of the going to work Pistons. You haven't seen championships. Well, I mean, I guess the Red Wings, but you give the Tigers that space. 06, 2014, you're like, well, in that space, you're the best baseball team in the league. You got 2 World Series appearances, but like you said, it's a loser attitude because you didn't win anything.
Now,
we're getting the right link to Lynn here.
Okay.
Our link has failed. So.
Now, a couple of people, I just want to say this, too, about Alex Bregman doesn't want to be in Detroit. I've seen this in spots. I don't buy any of that, to be honest with you. I really don't. Because, again, of the track record of his agent, right? I mean, he's not going to just let him sign. He's trying to get a contract.
He's a thief.
Yes.
He's also trying to get that language.
The market isn't there. Mm-hmm. The market isn't there for a 31-year-old third baseman.
No.
It's not. It's not going to be some $200 million deal, which you probably promised him.
Right.
You know?
And I think the big hang-up was on the length of the contract, because
Sure.
I've heard that before, too.
5 years, 6 years.
Listen, if the guy wanted to be here, he'd be here.
You believe that?
I do.
I'm kind of with that.
I do. So what I'm saying is he might be forced to come here. So maybe,
Monty Williams,
just maybe, he'll take less years and maybe with an out, like Jack Flaherty got a 2-year deal. But he has a player's option to get the hell out of here next year if he wants. Or the Tigers can redo his contract, or even better, they could trade him again at the deadline again. So it's all up for grabs here, man.
Yeah, sometimes you got to give in to the players if this is the player you need. If this is what you need for the moment, sometimes you got to give a little. Like, sometimes you don't get everything you want. Sometimes you can't be on sign like, well, we got 51% of the deal, so it's good in our favor. Sometimes you got to take 48% if the bigger goal is to win the whole thing, if the bigger goal is to put yourself further than you got last year, and if this is a player mixed in with the moves that you've made that can take you there, sometimes you got to swallow your pride. Like, look, you know what? All right, cool. We'll give you a 3-year deal or whatever, or we'll give you 2 in an option or something. Like, the time is now to strike. Stop with the deal sometimes. If that's the situation, if it's 5 years, sometimes you got to lessen the deal. Get it done to get the guy in.
Yeah, because that's the only real weakness on this team. Pitching, you're solidified. And the Tigers are in a position now to where, okay, maybe you're not competing for a World Series, and that's fine. We know what it takes to actually get a World Series type team. But there is no reason why you shouldn't be competing for the Central every single year.
No doubt. And speaking of the Central, that Central Division, by the way, is as difficult a division as there may be in baseball, or among them, I will say. And anybody that wants to laugh at that, go ahead and just look at the team in the division in the American League that got the wild cards last year. Kansas City and Detroit, 2 wild card teams, 3 playoff teams in the AL Central. So for everybody that says, oh, the American League East was so good last year or anything like that, it was the Central that had 2 wild card teams that were beating everybody up.
I'm not as knowledgeable about baseball to talk about it. I'll just say, like, the Central wasn't good last year. It was a lot of wins beating up on each other, and so I think you got to pause on how many teams they got into the playoffs. A lot of bad baseball out of the Red Sox and the Seattle Mariners down the stretch, but that Central isn't anything to write home about.
Minnesota helped us immensely.
Well, Minnesota helped us by tanking, but Kansas City plus 91 last year. That was second only to the New York Yankees.
They redid their whole team with free agents.
And that's what I'm saying. It's the first 2 teams in there. It's the Royals and it's the Guardians. The Tigers and the Twins was like, huh?
Tigers 10 games over 500, though. I mean, that's
in the grand landscape of things. But 86 and 86, these 2 teams you're really worried about just off the number standpoint.
How many games do you think they won in 02 when they went to the World Series?
89.
06, excuse me. They won 96. So we're talking 10 games difference only between that team and last year's Tigers.
That's a lot of games in baseball.
10 games
that's
out of 162.
That's a lot of games in baseball, though, man.
I'm just telling you. This team could pick up at least 6 of those wins.
Okay.
Out of 10. They could be over 90 wins.
And the first thing I said when I started the conversation is I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if I'm right or wrong.
I'm not yelling. I'm sorry.
100%. No,
why are you yelling at Braylon?
I'm not yelling at you.
First of all, he's not yelling.
I was trying to start something.
I'm well versed in yelling.
I was trying to start something there.
Nope, I'm not taking
all
the bait.
Right, we're gonna get Lynn Henning on the phone here momentarily. We'll take a break. How about that? Can we take a break here? And then we'll get Lynn Henning up momentarily. We'll get him on the phone. Okay, but first the message from Sabbath Coffee. There you go. Good job. How about that?
Everybody, it is time for you to do what you need to do if you're a true sports fan. You got to head to, what's it called, Kenny G?
He's on the phone.
Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
I didn't know he was on the phone. Sorry about that, Kenny
Give
G.
him a break.
Head to SabbathCoffeeRoasters.com right now, everybody out there. Choose your favorite roast. Use the code word Woodward, and you'll get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. We'll be right back.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app online or in club and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Boom. Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway, KG, Pete Spivak with us as well. Gentlemen, it is a pleasure to talk Tigers with longtime Detroit News sports columnist Lynn Henning. Lynn, how are you, my friend? Great to hear your voice.
As well, Ryan, Braylon, Maz, KG, the whole gang. Yeah, always good to talk with you.
Whole gang's all here. Hey, Lynn, let me ask you. Obviously, this Alex Bregman thing has us all very interested in this offseason. Just your sense on how you think the Tigers and Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch have approached this summer, this negotiation with Alex Bregman, and do you believe he ends up wearing the Old English D?
No, I don't, guys. I don't want to pop the balloons, but I think the Tigers and really all the clubs have taken very good stances on Bregman. I think the people that made the mistake were Boris and Alex Bregman when they turned down 6 years and $156 million from Houston, and really that's what put them behind the eight ball on this thing. Now they're trying to scramble. I just noticed moments ago the Cubs have offered in 4 years $100 million plus, which you figure is going to be probably more like $125, $130 million. And I think the Tigers would have no problem matching that, guys. But here's where it's going to get into a deal breaker for them is their ballpark. And remember, Comerica Park was designed to draw free agent pitching and make hitters hate being there. And they largely accomplished exactly what they wanted to do, at least as far as hitters are concerned. So if it comes down to Wrigley Field or Comerica Park or Fenway Park in Comerica, if I'm Alex Bregman, I sure know where I'm going to sign, assuming that the money is somewhere even, and I think that'll be the case. But I really believe that's the Tigers' issue right now with Bregman.
So, go ahead, Baz.
Lynn, haven't they moved the fences in and done everything to fix that park to make it a little bit more hitter friendly?
They've done it in tweaks, guys, and it's better than it was, of course, when it opened 25 years ago, and it was just a disaster. But it's still too big of a ballpark. It's the most oversized ballpark in baseball, and hitters don't like that. They know that when they hit a ball in the screws, that's a very difficult thing to do, and to end up seeing it disappear in a guy's glove is punitive, which is exactly what the ballpark was intent on doing when John McHale and Randy Smith laid it all out back in the late 90s. That's why some of us, like myself, and pretty much only myself, were screaming about this thing before it even opened. Get it fixed now because you're going to have to fix it later. Well, in 2003, they did. If you remember, the bullpens were out in right field, and left field was a mile and a half away. So they pulled it in. They moved the bullpens out there. Then they made a few more tweaks a couple of years ago, but not enough, guys, to offset some of the absurd distances out there. And hitting is too difficult. And players who know that they just did their job and a pitcher didn't do his don't want to see the pitcher rewarded and themselves penalized. But try to get that through a lot of heads, and I've been spending 25 years yelling about this thing because it simply affects and gashes the integrity of a baseball game. And again, it was designed to do that. It was a rock-headed strategy from the beginning, and they haven't done enough because they can't really do a lot. They could do more, but they've been extremely stubborn at getting those deep areas in left center and right center adjusted. They've wanted to have those and have their cake and eat it too, and it doesn't work out that way. Hitters know better. They pulled in distant center field by about 12 feet. That's still not enough. 400 is plenty out there. But I don't blame hitters for having their disposition to it that they do, because that's what the Tigers front office at that point wanted hitters to have as far as an attitude toward Comerica Park. Well, bingo, success, you did it.
How would you characterize their offense without Alex Bregman as it stands right now? They added Gleyber Torres in the offseason, have a healthy Kerry Carpenter. Parker Meadows looks as like an all-star. Riley Green is Riley Green. How would you characterize their offense without Bregman?
Assuming there's no Bregman, then what we're going to see is Jace Young get his chance to be the everyday third baseman. And I think, guys, that he's being underestimated. I think not only is he going to be a very good offensive player, and better probably than most people are assessing, but I think his defense is going to be adequate, and it will get better. And if there's one error, I believe, in how the Tigers are being assessed going into 2025, I think they've written off Jace Young when he can be very, very, very good there. The problem, gentlemen, and you all know this, is that it makes them too left-handed, and they really need that right-handed bat on the left side of the infield. Between shortstop and third base, there's not enough right-handed thump there. And you don't know how Trey Sweeney's really going to hold up. So one way or another, they've needed to shore that up. Matt Vierling can play there, but he's not going to give you the punch that you need. And so, fellas, the other path here, and I've thought all along this would be the more likely route for them, is to trade for somebody in a younger player, probably in that vicinity of Meadows, Colt Keith, Jace Young, a guy who's getting very close to the big leagues. And there are a few of those around the various leagues. Baltimore has some help there potentially too. And the Tigers could conceivably swing that deal. Even before spring training or by the end of spring training. And that's one thing I was mentioning today, is people need to remember the big Willie Hernandez trade of 1984 that set the last World Series season and championship in motion was made on March 24th, just a few days before camp convened, or rather before it adjourned. And so keep that in mind, fellas, because there's still a lot of room and a lot of time to make a deal. And if it doesn't happen, then guess what? They'll wait and see what happens between now and the trade deadline in July, when you figure there's going to be a fairly plump market for hitters. And the Tigers have trade assets galore, including all this extra pitching that they've added, now with Flaherty particularly coming aboard. So they've got a lot of trade chips. And all along, I thought more than Bregman, a trade would be their more likely route to get that left side infield bat and third base presence that they're looking for.
Very interesting take, Lynn. KG here. Good to talk to you again. And I have a lot of questions about this team, because I do feel like they can compete for the Central, but as far as having the success they had in the playoffs last year, that's still yet to be seen whether they can replicate that. But you brought up Gleyber Torres, who I thought was a pretty good signing in this offseason. He plays second base, also plays a little bit of shortstop. But that also told me that they have to do something about first base. Now it looks like Colt Keith might slide over to first and maybe be the everyday guy. But what does that mean for somebody like Spencer Torkelson, somebody that, you know, has hit 30 home runs in the past, and a lot of people still have faith in the type of player he can be, but the numbers just haven't shown that over the last 3 years?
Yeah, KG, you just hit on the two elements that really I think are 1 and 2 in terms of what might happen at spring camp. And that, of course, centers on third base and first base. Third base, again, as we've discussed, we'll see whether Bregman could come aboard or whether or not you're going to have to live with Jace Young and Matt Vierling. Secondly, though, is the Torkelson concern, and you are absolutely right. They're really not planning on him now. I think the chances are at least 65% that he begins the year at Toledo. That doesn't mean you have to cut bait with him yet. But they will be looking to see whether or not he can be Spencer Torkelson. Emphasis on the guy that we saw 2 years ago who hit 31 home runs and who was a first overall pick. You figure is probably going to begin to reach that kind of level of performance. But it's all on him. They're not counting on him, but they are hoping for a surprise that would not be a shock. And that would be Spencer Torkelson tearing it up in spring camp. And suddenly now you've got that right-handed bat you're looking at and being able to position him at least part-time at DH in first base. That would be an answer to a lot of their prayers, particularly if they settle for Jace Young at third. But those two things, KG, you're absolutely dead on there. Spencer Torkelson, and it's superseded by, of course, this third base mystery that hasn't yet been resolved. But I think, guys, on the Bregman front, I just think he's going to opt for the ballpark, assuming that the money is about even. And the Tigers aren't going to be likely overbidding by a tremendous sum what the Cubs or Red Sox would offer. So ballpark considerations are going to come back like a chicken coming home to roost here to make the Tigers understand what they've got at Comerica Park and what they might have lost here in terms of Alex Bregman.
And Lynn, you know this wouldn't be a Tiger segment if I didn't ask you about Javi Baez. I mean, they seem to still have faith in this guy. I don't know why. You know, he had the hip surgery. And
90 million reasons why.
Well, yeah, but you got to pay him anyway. So I would much rather pay him to not be on the team. But with that being said, what is going to happen at shortstop? Because you have a kid and Trey Sweeney, who, you know, came in as a stopgap last year and did okay. You would like to see him improve in a lot of areas, but anything was better than Javi Baez and just the numbers he's put up over the last few years. What is the situation at shortstop for this year? Are we expected to see Javi be an everyday guy, or are they leaning more towards Trey Sweeney or maybe even a Gleyber Torres that can play shortstop?
No, that's issue number 3 for sure. I think right now, Gleyber Torres is not going to play shortstop. He will play second base. He's really not a shortstop anymore, KG. So what they will look at are the two things you've cited. Either they get Javi Baez healthy and reasonably productive, which is on a relative scale with him, because they got to, as you say, pay him. Or if he's not medically cleared, they've got an option there to perhaps look at how insurance affects the remainder of the contract. Now, that's a remote possibility, but it's one to consider. If they do find that he's healthy enough to compete, but he's still going to be the 205 mini strikeout guy that we've seen here for 3 years, then I think they decide to write him a parting gift of his remaining money, $78 million or whatever it is, and then they try to upgrade their right-handed bat at shortstop. Now, you could do that with a Jose Iglesias or someone like that in the market right now. But I think, KG, your question again is apt here. But right now, that's not going to be resolved until spring training, when they can see what he can do medically, and then whether or not he's worth carrying as a right side platoon at shortstop. But Trey Sweeney, I think, is going to be just fine, particularly as that left-handed stick, which against right-handed pitching means he'll be in the lineup on most days.
Mr. H, go back to the pitching here for a minute. Why did they sign Cobb but not Verlander or Scherzer? Same money. Why?
Oh, because they think Cobb at this point, Maz, is going to be more effective. And I think that simply is a metrics readout, and you can assess it by their stuff. You know, Justin Verlander, as we know, is not eternal. He's 42 this month. He turns 42. Max is really in physically a risky point of his twilight, and they're reading that loud and clear. Cobb is not a physical concern. They know what he was throwing at the end of the season, and that was an easy call for them over those other two guys, Maz. It's strictly a matter of age and likely performance.
Lynn, I wanted to ask you, just go back to this Bregman thing, and I know owners don't shell out $150 million for goodwill, but the perception from Detroit sports fans with Chris Ilitch is I don't want to say not great, but it's not the best. Let's say that. What do you think? What do you think the narrative would be if Detroit sports fans, Tigers fans, if this Bregman thing gets away from them and he does end up somewhere else, and maybe, as you're saying, that's probably likely, whether it's the ballpark or any other reason. Tigers fans have their sights set on Bregman, and when they have their sights set on something, they want that guy and can't accept any other reason for it other than the fact that they get him. What do you make of the relationship that Tigers fans have with Chris Ilitch?
I can virtually guarantee you, Ryan, that this is not Chris Ilitch standing in the doorway with his arms folded and telling Scott Harris you can't sign Bregman. This is Scott Harris and Jeff Greenberg and the whole gang saying, hey, this only makes sense if we can do this for 4 years or so. And that's the problem right there with the Bregman contract. He was stupid to turn down 6 years when he turns 31 in April. A 4-year deal is about as far as you want to go with a guy like that. And that's what the front office is saying, because they know down the line, guys, if they're paying Bregman for a couple of unproductive years at the end of this contract, it's going to restrict what they can do in adding other assets. So this isn't Chris Ilitch. Now, is it possible that if Mike were the owner, he would say to Scott Boras, as he said to him a couple other times, let's make the deal, let's work this out and do it? Very possibly. But I can also tell you, and I don't have to have you remember much here to know that Prince Fielder's deal was ridiculous. Jordan Zimmerman's was bad. Justin Upton was a huge mistake they were lucky to unload. And Juan Gonzalez, had he signed the contract that Ilitch and everybody wanted to sign him to in 2000, would have prevented Pudge Rodriguez and Maglio from signing here because they'd have owed too much money to Juan Gonzalez. Everybody wants the celebrity billboard name, but they don't want the ball and chain on the back end of the contract. And that's what you're looking at here if you go with Bregman for 6 years or 5 years even. The 4-year deal is about right. And if they don't get him, guess what? You're probably going to like two things. Either how Jace Young plays at third base, or once this trade, which I believe is an inevitable, occurs, whether it's this month or July, what they get coming Detroit's direction for the many trade chips they've got. And at that point, you'll like a whole lot more this kid, his contract, and the upside over Alex Bregman. But people can't see that right now. All they're focused on here is the celebrity talent. And I think that's where this all gets looked at a bit out of line.
Lynn, last one for you. How much of a consideration is in realistic terms the fact that the Tigers are changing their ballpark a little bit behind home plate, adding all of these suites, with the adding of the dugout suites behind home plate and everything like that comes an added cost? Do they consider that from a business standpoint of getting one of those A players, those big time contract guys, just for the ticket prices of it all?
Again, guys, I don't think this is a money deal. They've got enough money to make a sensible free agent acquisition, except perhaps for Juan Soto. I mean, $700 million wasn't probably going to be feasible, not for 25 or 26 teams. But I don't think it's a money issue, fellas. I think it's a common sense issue. And again, if you're going to add a guy like that and just write him his check, just write Alex Bregman and Boras what they want and bring him in here for 6 years. 4 years from now or 3 years from now, when he's got a sore hip and he's hitting 223 and you're stuck with the same thing you're looking at now with Baez, let me tell you, this prevents you from doing other smarter things with your roster. And that's why they're wise, just as the Cubs are. These teams have money too, but they're not going to pay Bregman something ridiculous. That's just not going to be beneficial to the ball club. The Red Sox have that money. The Cubs, why haven't they signed him? Because he wants too much for too long.
Right.
And so that's the gamble you make here, fellas. That you're going to make more intelligent moves if you don't make the stupid one. And guess what? I think they're on sound turf there and assessing it that way.
Hey, look, this is the last one, I promise. You're a baseball man. I consider myself a baseball man. I look at this league, and I'm looking, and there's just no way to get out of the Dodgers' way. And I'm a Yankee fan, as you know. Grew up a Yankee fan. So I know what everyone thought of the Yankees. But I think the Dodgers are making the Yankees look like the Tampa Bay Rays. And it's not fun.
Yeah.
I get the ticket.
No, you're right.
I watch all the games all year. It's not fun.
No, Maz, you're right, and this imbalance is really threatening baseball in a different way. And I'll tell you the other element here that isn't being considered fully. They have such a natural geographic and cultural ability to invest in Japanese ball players. Well, so you've already got the money. Now you've got the added ability to take on a Sasaki and to buy everybody else in sight from Japan. And, of course, the Dodgers are Japan's team. This thing has to be righted here competitively. It will be in some manner in the next CBA, which expires at the end of next year. And hang on, because that is going to be a point of address, particularly if, Maz, as everyone fears, the Dodgers are just going to steamroller everybody this season and next. At that point, MLB has a big problem. It's right now a festering problem. We all know sports provide surprises. Sometimes the juggernauts, the absolute certain winners, are shown to be human and fallible. And everyone hopes that's the case because no one wants a baseball World Series here that simply is no longer competitive.
Right.
And right now the Dodgers are threatening to be that kind of monopolistic giant, and that's bad for the sport for sure.
It is.
The great Lynn Henning, thank you, sir.
Rich.
We appreciate it. Always enjoy talking Tigers with you, my friend.
Maz, Ryan, KG, Braylon, everybody. Good talking with you, gentlemen. Talk again soon.
All right, hope to do it again soon. Thanks so much. Guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Myles Garrett spoke on the Rich Eisen Show earlier today. We'll have some of that for you coming up. But first, a message from Taller.
Oh, that me? Oh, that is me. Have you heard of the long drink, that gin-based cocktail? Well, we got one made right here in Michigan. Made with all natural ingredients for better flavor. Taller, the Dutch long drink from New Holland Brewing Company, is shoulders above the rest. Made from New Holland small black batch gin with 100% real grapefruit fruit puree, say that 10 times fast, for a fresh, delicious flavor. Taller is your local long drink.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
At WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Scan that rather large QR code above my rather large bald head, and you can get yourself your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. When you do scan that QR code, use the code word Woodward1000 to get your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account. Deposit at least $20. Make a bet of $20 or more. If that first bet happens to lose, you get that first bet back as a bonus bet up to $1,000, but only if you scan that QR code above my head and use the code word Woodward1000 to get your brand new Caesars Sportsbook account.
Signature wings, limited time only. I told you yesterday it is time to order these for the Super Bowl. You better put your order in, though, because Soroki's is selling out, man. The crispy chicken is fire, the pizza, all these things, man, they go into what you should do for your Super Bowl party, man. Limited time only, these signature wings, but this is where the real fans' favorite. I think they got something else when they wanted me to say. www.Sorokis.com. That's how you find out where all the Sorokis are nearest you. This is the spot, man. I'm telling you, these wings aren't going to be here forever. So I said one last time, limited time offer.
Hey, before you skip over to the football, I wanted to ask Lynn about Illich and his divorce. I'll ask you guys.
Yep.
It's a personal issue, obviously. But when you own two teams, it makes us look at it and say, okay, what happens now? I'm sure there's a loophole in their marriage. There's something written in that teams are off limits. But I really don't know. I'm blessed enough that I'm not divorced, nor do I know anyone that is in his shoes. But how do you think that would affect him going forward? I mean, you said it to Lynn. He's doing all this stuff at Comerica. It's money. Don't tell me that he's spending money to make Comerica look better, and we're not going to pay for it somehow. We're going to pay for it, and now he's got to pay his wife. So we're probably going to pay for that too, is the way I look at it. Now, Bray, you've been a professional athlete, so you know owners.
Yeah.
What's your take on this whole thing going forward?
I think we just live in a different era. I think, when I was playing and, even maybe 10 years after that, or so like 10 or so years ago, I think wives would stick it out. Like, wives are just from the different era. You make it work. That's what the contract says. It's about, and a lot of times to their detriment. They may not be happy, and maybe they come up with an arrangement. This is what I can do. This is all speculation, by the way. But we live in a world now where women like, if I'm not happy, I'm not happy. It doesn't matter. I don't care what I've built. I can get out. I can get some money, I can go start my own and start over and do something else. So I think that's the era we live in now. People don't want to work things out. I just would be curious, what is it? Because for an individual to own two professional teams and also have a business, a major business outside of that, where the hell are you getting some free time to do the hanky-panky?
Speculation.
Which that's not what it is.
Speculation, of course.
Speculation, of course.
Yeah, I don't. This is not my forte. I would say, as it relates to the Tigers and the Red Wings, that it appears the matter has been settled, and that is it. Potentially, there's still some things that need to be worked out, but according to the lawyers, this matter has been settled.
Okay.
And it will not affect the ownership or the stake or anything regarding the Detroit Red Wings and the Detroit Tigers. And at the end of the day, this is not going to be a Frank McCourt situation in L.A. You'll remember Frank McCourt, the owner of the Dodgers, was in a very public divorce with his ex-wife and ultimately had to sell the team because of it. That is not this. And I think ultimately when you do have an owner go through a difficult personal time, and I don't care how much money you have, I don't care who you are, you're going through a divorce, that is a major thing in somebody's life. So I'm not going to speculate or talk about that, but as it relates to the sports teams, I believe that is buttoned up. That his situation is not this Frank McCourt situation that was in L.A. And I think that's the most important part about that right now. Guys, out of the interest in not just glossing over Myles Garrett. We'll pull some cuts for you tomorrow. Myles Garrett on with the Rich Eisen show. We'll get you some cuts tomorrow and have a more planned way to kind of go about that. But one of the things that he was talking about, and again, you'll hear him say it tomorrow, was just how he is at a point, and he sought counsel from LeBron James before he requested this trade. And just did not like the direction of the franchise, did not like the quickness in which they needed to rebuild. So all of those things added to this, requesting a trade situation. So
hey, speaking of LeBron, let me spin over to basketball for a quick second. I have a soundbite from LeBron, and we all
LeBron
James. When they said nobody knew about this trade, I was like, okay, sure. You're going to tell me LeBron didn't know about this trade? I don't believe that. Well, here he is.
I was out. You got seen the report. I was out with my family at dinner and got the news. And first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. Thought it was a hoax. People messing around, whatever. But then when AD called me, AD FaceTimed me, and I talked to him for quite a while. And even when I got off the phone with him, it still didn't seem real, and it still pretty much didn't seem real until saw Luka today, and then I saw a clip of AD at the Dallas shoot-around.
He don't look too happy. He doesn't.
Not at all.
He doesn't look too happy, Bray.
Man, this is like cap. LeBron knew. LeBron knows everything that's going on in the NBA. He is a bad actor. We have seen countless times throughout his career where he has lied about things or he is lying, and you're literally watching the screen or watching your phone, and you're like, man, this MF lying. I know he's lying.
100%.
He's lying. It's just he has tails too. He's playing with his mustache and all fidgeting every time he was talking about.
All he needs is a book to read, a fake book.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. Maybe he did know, but I'm gonna go with past record as it relates to LeBron. LeBron, you cannot have a league, and the person that has carried the league, essentially, that has carried the league for the last 15 years,
20 years,
20 years has carried the league, and not know. Everything that happens in the NBA, LeBron knows something about.
Do you remember when LeBron got mad at his team and they traded the entire team the next day?
100%.
There's no way they made this decision without consulting him. No way.
Hey, look, this is what we need. And they basically laid it out. And at the end of the day, this isn't a conspiracy. This is the truth. LeBron is the reason the NBA is where it's at right now in the last 20 years, him and Steph. But they talked to LeBron. You're not going to run this move. You're not going to have it without, hey, look, this is what we need to happen. This is why we need it to happen. We need you to be on board with it, or we're going to do it regardless. But they definitely had a conversation. And maybe that's the part of him still being mad, Maz. You can know and still be pissed.
Yeah.
Just because you know doesn't mean you're like cool with it. I guarantee they told him. He knew about it. He's still pissed about it.
I'll tell you this. Yesterday I brought it up, Ryan. I want to get your opinion. The NBA was like a zero this year.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was watching them.
Facts.
One of the worst years. And what did they do on a Saturday night? On Super Bowl week, they shocked the world.
Mm-hmm.
And all we've been doing since Saturday night has been talking NBA.
It's not over either.
And the trade deadline, it just happens to be right here tomorrow. 23 hours from right now is the trade deadline.
Let me tell you.
I just think that was fixed.
Let me just tell you a little bit about my sports history. Obviously, I remember the Tigers. One of my first memories as a sports fan is when the Tigers won the World Series in 1984. I was 5 years old, but I do remember it. I absolutely remember it, going in on the porch and banging pots and pans together with all the neighbors and everything. It was fantastic. But the Detroit Pistons, the bad boy Pistons, made me a sports fan. Isaiah Thomas was my favorite player. I love basketball. I love the Pistons. I have zero interest in the NBA as a whole. I'm interested in the Pistons, but I have zero interest in the NBA as a whole. The game itself does nothing for me anymore. And I do think there is a crisis in the NBA. Mm-hmm. With all the three-point shots, there is no such thing as anything that has to do with
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When was the last time that you enjoyed basketball? And obviously, the Pistons have been bad for a while. But when's the last time you enjoyed as a basketball fan? Because I know what it was for me.
Probably the Steph Curry 73 win team.
So KD got there.
And LeBron.
They lost.
LeBron winning that time. So it's 2016-ish.
When's the last time you went to a game and with your family and sat and enjoyed it?
Couldn't tell you that answer.
You need to go.
Yeah.
Because when you go, it
Yeah.
reinvigorates you.
Yeah.
You look at the game that I'm like, I love this game.
Right.
I
I love this game.
When Kawhi won and the Raptors, I think that was it for me. The peak was LeBron and Steph.
Yeah.
But I think for me watching as a fan, that's like 19. It's like right before COVID. That was it. He hits the shot, bounce, it goes in, they win, blah, blah, blah.
And then I'll be honest with you too, man.
Can't watch it.
You know, LeBron and Steph. Outside of that,
Bird Magic.
No, I'm just saying, moving forward now, Giannis, Luka,
Giannis got some help today.
Jokic.
Giannis ain't young.
You know, I mean, I don't mean to be whatever, but the international guys don't do it for me. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Edwards, when he was coming out, I was like, Anthony Edwards, come on, please.
What is it missing? What do you think?
It's missing attitude. It's missing attitude.
I was going to say fights.
Yeah, well, fights, but it's missing attitude. It's missing rivalries. It's a boring game.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
100%.
there's just way too many three-pointers shot. I mean, you might as well have a three-point contest.
Yeah.
It is missing so much. It's missing a story, really. I mean, how many times, because the NBA is at a point now where the NBA, you could... The other night, the Boston Celtics were down 25 points in the third quarter. Came back and won the game by 8.
I think everybody does the same thing now. Like, you can literally from 1 to 5, you can be 6'9" and you can do it all. You can dribble, bring the ball up the court. You can barely rebound, barely play defense. You have the same skill because everybody's going to the same guys, the same shooting coaches, the same skills guys in the offseason. Everybody on the court is almost the same player, with the exception of a couple tall guys here or there.
There's absolutely no reason to watch a full NBA game, is what I'm saying. You know, and there's zero reason to watch a full game. Like I said the other night, Boston Celtics down 25 points, come back and win by 8. In the third quarter, come back and win the game by 8. You're like,
through all threes.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many threes they shoot?
All threes and no defense.
Yeah.
But hasn't the trade of Luka got you thinking?
It makes it interesting.
Are you interested again?
It makes it interesting because now I want to see the Dallas Mavericks and the Lakers in the playoffs.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We'd love to see that. I want to see if the Pistons are going to do something.
But, I mean, if you look at the NBA as a whole right now, Cleveland at the top of the East.
Right. We don't care about that.
Oklahoma City, Memphis, Houston, Denver, the top 4 in the West.
We don't care about
Sorry. Give me the Lakers. Give me the Suns. You know what I mean? The Suns are barely hanging on. The Dallas Mavericks right now are not even in the playoffs.
Yep. KD is getting dealt by tomorrow.
That's the big deal. It's gonna happen.
He's gone.
There's just nobody.
The stories disappear. Like the Memphis Grizzlies, what they were building 3-4 years ago, that was something I was starting to pay attention to. I was on the Ja Morant wave. They brought in Desmond Bane and Josh Jackson. It was okay. They were hyped together. And then obviously some things on and off the court with Ja. Team gets a little disbanded. And I haven't watched the Ja Morant game since he's been back. And I know he's cooking. I don't watch. That story, to your point, the storyline. There was a story with Memphis. I was like, oh, the Memphis team kind of had similar energy to the Golden State Warriors, the We Believe team. They kind of had some similar energy to that.
How about Michigan basketball? Is that doing it for you?
No.
They play Oregon tonight.
It doesn't.
Braylon's excited for his birthday that game.
February 21st, Michigan State.
I'm excited for Michigan basketball in March. I'll be a big Michigan basketball fan in March, but I don't know any of these players.
MSU's lost 2 in a row on the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean,
we beat those 2 teams as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing with college basketball. None of these players were here last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's these guys came, they'll play a couple of months, and then they'll be gone.
Yeah.
There's no investment. You know what I mean? There's no investment in a story.
Dusty May has a little bit like PJ Fleck, but I think he'll be a better coach at Michigan than PJ Fleck is in Minnesota. He's a rah-rah guy, but he knows the game. He knows how to get these guys in. Just look what he's done in 1 year. Not even a full year. Look what he's done. So I'm excited about the future of Michigan basketball. I think there'll be sustainability.
One news story before we get out of here. No injuries. I want to make that clear before I say what happened. No injuries. But a Delta airline plane and a Japan airline plane collided wings at Seattle Airport.
One?
That happens.
That happens. That doesn't happen.
It shouldn't happen, but
that doesn't happen. Nobody's hurt, but they're on the tarmac taxiing out.
Oh, God.
And their wings collided with each other.
We are off to a wild year when it comes to planes.
Is this something that happened on the regular and it just was never reported?
No,
Or
it's
is it
close. In the last 5 years, I'd say, this has happened close.
Damn.
So many close calls.
Right, but this actually
there's so much traffic now.
what do we blame DEI for this one too?
No, I mean I don't blame it nothing, but it's a trend. That is absolutely a fact.
Too many of them.
You know, it is a trend. I don't know who to blame.
I just know it started after President's Day.
Well, I don't know who to blame, but there has been close call after close call for a number of years, and now we're starting to see some things that are happening, and that's not good. It doesn't make you feel like you want to hop on a plane anytime soon. Nope. Even though there have been 150. I keep saying this because I'm a little baby. I don't like flying. I can't get in the elevator. To be honest with you, I'm serious. There's so many things that I'm like I got.
We took the stairs that time.
Yeah, there's so many things I got phobias about. I can't be scared of flying. So the one thing I continuously tell myself is that there have been 150 million domestic flights since the last crash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a real number.
I mean, I think about that when you drive it in your car or train or anything like that. Like air travel is safe. I just continuously tell myself
it's the concept in your head.
Yes.
It's just the concept in your head.
So I just wanted to say that two planes collide, stuck together.
At least they were on the runway.
Yeah, amen to that.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Does the DC flight count as a crash?
The DC flight.
The DC helicopter.
That's the first crash.
Yeah, that was the first one.
In 150 million flights.
Because I'm about to say.
Yeah. First.
We're buying at 700.
So, my goodness. Jeez, please. Anyway, guys. All right. On that note, back to try it again tomorrow.
We'll do this thing tomorrow, Maz. I'll have something for you tomorrow. I had it today. I was ready. We have Stump the Maz tomorrow. Tomorrow's a top 10 Thursday, so we'll have that as well. So we will have some fun. Also, some interesting news about a receiver that's available for the Detroit Lions to potentially think about. You know, that's something for you guys to think about. For my man Ricky in the audio booth, Peace Pipe Back TD, Uncle Maz on the couch, Ryan Ermanni, my brother, brother. We are Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. We appreciate you, and we'll see you Monday night.